Hey, T here from TruBody Wellness. Today we're here in my kitchen and we're going to make one of my main staples in my diet, which is quinoa. Now, I've been eating quinoa for years now, and quinoa and black rice are my two primary complex carbs that I eat on a daily basis. One of the two for the most part. And today we're going to be doing quinoa because I actually need to make. I ran out this morning, so I need to make a new batch for the next coming days. And as one point is always be ready when it comes to your food. Never wait until the back end. Could I make it tomorrow morning? Yeah, but then you're rushing, or I'll be rushing, and this is not fun. So make it when I have a little bit more time, even though the prep time isn't long, nor is the cook time. But anyway, let me get into it. The things you're gonna need that I use, like I said, I have my quinoa. I mix in some chia seeds into my batch, also along with some coconut oil. Anything I'm missing? Nope. Everything that I get that I have here, I purchased at Costco. I'm a Costco junkie. That's like my second home. They should give me my own parking spot, and that's about that. Other thing you're gonna need is a bowl and spoon. So, what I just put this bowl on, I use a food scale for everything. It makes it so much easier. On the back of every package, it tells you what the serving sizes are. So what I actually do, I actually make 2 cups at a time, and that comes to, based upon this calculation, around about 360 grams on the scale is my 2 cups worth. So I don't use a measuring cup because I have a tendency to lie to myself when I use a measuring cup. If I'm really, really hungry, I'll pack more into the measuring cup than I should. And that's just cheating the process. So if you use a scale, numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So you turn our scale on, we make sure it's on grams, and from there we just pour. Once you do the numbers from the back, I need to get to 360. That's what I do. I pour, finish that bag there, next bag. A little over. I don't like being over. That's when my spoon comes in. I have to be as exact as possible when it comes to my measurements, just because I can. And I forgot one thing already. I messed up my process already. Other thing we have is a pot, so I'm gonna backtrack. What I normally do first is I put my water on the stove along with the coconut oil to get that warmed up before I add the quinoa in. I like bringing my water to a boil first. So normally for 1 cup of quinoa, you have 2 cups of water. So since I'm doing 2 cups of quinoa, theoretically speaking, I should have 4 cups of water. But I don't do four full cups, simply because the coconut oil, I add in 2 ounces of coconut oil, and the chia seeds. When you add water to chia seeds, there's a liquidy substance that's released, and that will add some more volume, quote unquote, liquid to the actual meal. So I only add in 28 ounces instead of the full 32 ounces, which is the regular four cups. Excuse me. So I'm gonna turn the water on. I do my best to use hot water because that just means it's gonna cook faster on the stove versus me using cold water. It just saves you a couple of minutes. And when you're trying to be maximizing your time, every minute does count. So I get another random bowl, some Tupperware, fill it up, and I'll pour this here until I get to 28. I'm at 22. This one here should be the last one. $27.5. 28. Now I got my 28 ounces. Now I want to add in my 2 ounces of quinoa. So I just hit the tare button, which is to zero it out again. You press that button while you still have everything on the scale. It zeroes everything out. So now it's like you're starting from scratch again. Now open up my coconut oil. I add in my 2 ounces. And again, you let the scale tell you when you reach that number. When it comes to fat, I don't like eyeballing fat, specifically because fat multiplies so quickly and it's so easy to overeat fat sources. I'm trying to keep this as neat as possible. Normally, if I was doing this in the morning, I would be just pouring it and letting the coconut oil fall wherever. But I'm not going to be all crazy about it like that today. Trying to get the 2 ounces in my 1.9. Boom. There's my 2. And then with the spoon. Coconut oil is great for your gums. It's great for your teeth. Coconut oil is great for so many things. That's actually one of my primary carbs. One of my primary fats. I don't really add any other fat to my diet other than regular dietary fat in the foods that I eat. But this 2 ounces is the only thing I really add in. So I'm going to turn our burner on, get that going and underway. So while that's heating up, then I'll normally transition over to the quinoa, getting that situated. So we already had the bowl set up, situated. We have our 360 here. Now when it comes to the chia seeds, on the back of this package, it says 3 tablespoons equals 30 grams. So I add 30 grams into the meal. There's no other reason than that. That's what was on the back of the bag. So I added 30 grams and I've been doing that for years and it works well for me. So again, empty the bag out. That's one. Always have backups. This one's fresh. Let me cut you open. Not enough. And again, I'm going to when the scale says 30. That's it. 28, 30. That one I actually got a little bit 32. No big deal. I'm not going to stress about that one. Cool. So now that's ready. So you have your spoon, you have your chia seeds, you have your coconut oil, and you have the water coming to a boil. So in the meantime, while this is heating up, we're just going to talk. I'll talk with you a little bit about food and my own perception, my own understanding about why I do what I do. The reason why quinoa is one of my main things, one of my main go-tos, is because of the nutrient quality of the food. Same thing with black rice. Quinoa is one of the few non-animal protein sources that gives you a full profile of your amino acids. So a lot of vegetarians and vegans may eat quinoa because of that factor. But that doesn't make quinoa primarily a carb source. A protein source. Quinoa is still primarily a carb. So how do you gauge what a food is in my world in regards to if it's a protein, a carb, a fat? Take the label. Look at the label itself. It tells you the breakdown of every food that you eat. This has a label, the chia seeds, the coconut oil, they all have their labels on them. It tells you the total calories, total fat, carbs, protein. Whichever one of these 3 numbers is the biggest out of your fat, your carbohydrates, and your protein, that is what you want to classify that food as. That is the primary bulk of what you're getting from that particular food. So in this case, per quarter cup, there's 2.5 grams of fat. Per quarter cup, there's 28 grams of carbohydrates. And per quarter cup, there's 6 grams of protein. So, because the carbs are the highest, you classify quinoa as a carb and not a protein source. Okay? Now, where this gets a lot of people in trouble is when you classify this as a protein source, is that you will have 6 grams. And say you're trying to double your protein source for 2 meals, or for the next meal where you're eating quinoa as your primary source. So you're trying to go from 6 grams to 12 grams. By doing that, you're not only doubling the protein source, you're also doubling the carbs and the fat. So your carbs have now gone from 28 to 56. So if you don't account for those things within the rest of your macronutrients, within the rest of your diet or your exercise program, you may end up putting on more weight because you're giving your body more energy that you're not accounting for. Hence the reason some people end up gaining weight eating healthy, but not realizing the numbers aren't working out in their favor. Yeah, here we have the quinoa starting to heat up a little bit. I like to wait until it comes to an actual boil. And at that point in time, I'll actually pour the quinoa in and turn it down to a simmer and leave it there. So here we go. Now it's boiling. Take the bowl, have your spoon ready, and you just pour it in. Some of it will stick because of the steam. Get it all in. And I just stir it up a little bit so everything nicely mixes together between the quinoa and the chia seeds and the coconut oil. Some of the chia seeds may stick to the spoon. Get it off. Cover it up. Turn it to the lowest setting. I turn on my timer. When I make this amount, I let it cook for 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, then it's done. So after this, I leave. I don't stand here and wait. I have my timer on. I go about doing something else with my business because I don't have to sit here and wait. I figured out what works best for my stove, for the pots that I use. So for you, you have to figure out what timetable works best for you. You don't want to cook it to the point where it starts to burn, and you don't want it to be overly soggy at the same time. So what I found is anywhere between that 15 to 25 minutes, based upon the pot you have and based upon the heat of your stove, that's normally the safe spot. So I would say start with 20 minutes and see what happens. So I'm about to go eat my next meal now. So we're going to let this thing cook, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what the finished product looks like, and that'll be that. Alright, we'll be back. Alright, we're back at it. Right now we have about 2 minutes to go on the clock of that initial 20. And I'll show you what it looks like. One thing I did do, since I was here preparing my meal, I think it's maybe about 3 or 4 minutes in, I stirred it up. And sometimes I do that, most times I don't. It's only if I'm still in the kitchen will I stir it up again to make the quinoa and the chia seeds, I guess, can mix together a little bit better. One point I didn't mention in regards to the coconut oil. One reason why I like adding coconut oil into my meal, I found that when I add the coconut oil in with the quinoa, my quinoa lasts longer. So what I'm going to take this quinoa, add it, throw it into a Tupperware, all of it, and throw this in the refrigerator, and I pull from it as I need it. That's the timer. So the quinoa's now done. Turn it off. There we go. As you can see, some of the chia seeds is on the edge, and the quinoa is in the middle. It's mixed throughout, but for the most part, it's mixed throughout. And once I add it into the Tupperware, it's all going to mix together even more. So you have the nutrient properties of the quinoa, you have the nutrient properties of the coconut oil, and you have the nutrient properties of the chia seeds as well, all mixed into one. And I actually prefer the taste of the quinoa with the coconut oil mixed in with it versus by itself. Another way of making this meal, I guess, more flavorful or palatable would be to, say you saute some spinach up, or not spinach, excuse me, saute some onions up, and you use that along with it. Or say you, instead of using water, use a simple broth, a low sodium broth. All those things will add more flavor. This works well for me. I've been doing it for years. I'm used to it. It tastes great to me personally. My sons eat it. My kids eat it. I have 2 little ones. My wife eats it as well. So when they can pass by the rules of a 3-year-old, or he's 3 currently, I think it's okay for an adult. If a 3-year-old can eat it, an adult should be able to eat it as well. So that's how I make my quinoa. And this batch right here will last me 2 to 3 days, or 2 to 2.5 days, depending on how much I need at that moment in time. So then, come 2 or 3 days from now, I make another batch, and then the cycle continues. Alright, well, that's my quinoa, coconut, and chia seed combination. Try it out. Check it out. I doubt you'll be upset. It's going to taste good, and it's going to be good for you at the same time. Alright, take care. Check y'all later.